welcome to Footy Kickin Good. I'm Jamie Moraes here for the Western Bulldogs ep of the podcast. Let's see who we got here. Series regular Michael Flynn and Adam Treloar's favourite Collingwood supporter.
Adam Treloar's favourite. Did you say that the right way around?
I think so. His favourite Collingwood supporter is you.
Oh, mate, we're running out of things to introduce me with.
Look, hey, I'm doing the hard work here, all right?
Yeah, you're doing the heavy lifting.
But we got a Western Bulldog super fan in, and one of the best pro wrestlers in the country at the moment, Jarvis Ho.
Yes, hello.
How are you doing, Jarvis?
Man, doing well.
How are you feeling? Are you excited for Footy to come back?
Man, I cannot wait for Footy to come back. I just want to sit down on a Sunday arvo and watch some Footy and do nothing else and just eat some food. Like I'm ready for it. I'm so
watching
keen.
Just like highlight reels of like past games last year.
To be honest, if they televise the intra clubs, I'd watch all of them.
Yeah,
are they not?
Some of them are.
I thought they were.
I think it's like some of them are like you got to be a member.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like there's one game that's like a triple threat basically.
I think it's.
Oh yeah, there is too. Yeah.
There's a game on. There's a practice match on. I think Essendon's playing someone. And they're charging people to go.
Really?
Yeah, it's Dogs. It's Dogs. We got
Dogs,
it's Dogs.
Yeah.
Essendon. Yeah, it's actually sold out. Believe it or not.
You're saying they are Dogs. I was
No, they're facing the Dogs, and it's also sold out that game. I'm pretty sure. So obviously the money's worked.
People love footy. Like,
yeah, absolute nuffies they are.
I mean, it's more and more popular every year. Attendance is always up. But let's focus on the Doggies. Let's move on to the ins and outs. Flynn, that's your cue.
Thanks, mate.
Ins and outs. Sam Davidson, pick number 51. Now, I want to spend a couple of seconds just on Sam Davidson. 23-year-old, former Richmond VFL forward, won the Fothergill Round Mitchell medal.
What's that for?
That's the best VFL player, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Sure?
Best VFL player. Yeah.
And we see him every year. Normally defender, I think, the last couple of years, and they always end up on an AFL list.
The Doggies are going a bit rogue with some of their
we were.
Yeah.
It was a bit rogue.
Who's the bloke that they've just signed? They have training with them at the moment. Crossley.
Yeah.
The oldest looking 25-year-old in the world.
Yeah, right. He might need to go to a trip to Turkey or something.
He's a good footballer though.
Yeah.
Well, he might be a new rock. Honestly, might need him.
So just on Sam Davidson, 190 centimetre forward, racking up 20 disposals in a lot of games as well, so real influence player. I think he could have an impact early. Cooper Hines, I think, was their first pick at 20.
Yeah.
Matt Kennedy's the interesting one coming over in the trade.
Rogue.
Yeah, bit of an older head to come in. I think,
like it.
Yeah, I think he'd be a nice mix for the midfield, to be honest.
Yeah, I just don't know where he plays in our midfield when we've got our full strength.
Because we know Treloar's down.
Treloar's down at the moment.
Part of it for me with like last year, they have a lot of the same type of mids where like a guy like Jack McRae got pushed out because it's like, well, Treloar was in such good form, and like Kennedy is a point of difference. Like I suppose he's similar in some ways to Bont, but obviously not as good. But like he's a bigger body midfielder, but he can play forward. He can. I think he's kind of what Sanders is going to be in the next few years. He's going to like play forward a little bit, but then have his time in the midfield when they need to rotate out until eventually a lot of our midfielders fall off and we need someone to fill those roles. Yeah, but I think at the moment, Ed Richards is
he's
solidified himself as
when he
the
did
best
that pace.
starting. So if you got Bont,
Libar.
Richards, Libar, Treloar, I mean, it's pretty
hard to push in.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Looking at the outs.
Massive outs.
There. I mean, let's talk about Caleb Daniel, Bailey Smith, Jack McRae. Now, those are huge names coming out of the side, but they weren't permanent fixtures last year.
But yeah, they can cover it.
I think Daniel pretty much became permanent towards the back half of the season. But I think it was just one of those things where I think a lot of these players needed to go to other clubs really to like kind of keep their AFL seasons and careers alive, because realistically at the Dogs, again, they were getting pushed out for players that are younger and also coming up and have those same skills. And you know, to be fair, I love McRae, but he's not big body. He can grab the ball, but like we've got Liber and now Richards, who's a lot faster than a McRae.
Yeah, I still feel like similar to like Tom Mitchell, how he left and went to the Pies because they sort of like had what they needed in that midfield with Collingwood, and Collingwood didn't. It's like McRae's one of the best at what he does, but they have too many guys that do the same thing.
Exactly.
So Whereas, at St Kilda, he'll probably go really well. But,
I think he'd be great for the super coach, McRae.
Yeah, I agree. Charlie Clark was small forward. He didn't really get an opportunity, but there was a lot of hype when he got drafted.
Yeah.
But nothing. I don't think there's anyone that's massive there left.
Aiden O'Driscoll was the guy that got a concussion, right?
Yeah, and he retired.
He retired right at the start of his career.
At the start of the season last year, I think it was. Yeah, bit depressing, but we move.
Right, moving on.
Also, Bailey Smith, just like 2 seconds. Like
Bailey Smith, yeah.
I love him.
Who?
Not fucking. But like, I think it was only in due course. I think it was a bit depressing. I think it was depressing of how he left the club.
Yeah.
And how like he didn't even play another year for us. I feel like if we had one more year and he's like, all right, I want to go, then it's like, all right, fine. But like, he didn't even give the team and the club a chance.
Yeah, bit of an odd situation where I think Josh Dunkley was something similar as well. He kind of knew a year out he was leaving.
Yeah, but he was
wanting
Essendon.
Yeah. And
then they stopped him, and then he stayed for another couple of years.
Yeah. The trade never went across.
Do you remember Joe Danaher almost went to Sydney as well?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, how crazy was that?
But
him and Franklin down forward, damn.
I empathise with the Bulldogs because it became clear that Smith was going to go to Geelong. But then Geelong didn't have like anything really worthy
substantial
for him. And it's like, well, if you put him in the open market, Gold Coast gave up pick 6 for
Dan
Rioli. It's like,
to be fair, like I think the consideration that you had to make there is that the draft was already stacked as it was.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what pick you got, you were going to get possibly some sort of gem. And realistically, that's what we ended up getting with Geelong's trade. We got pick 20, we got Haynes over it. So it's like, you kind of like, it's not going to be the greatest. I reckon Bailey's going to have a phenomenal year in the way he's like training and looking at going into 2025. But, you're going to have to kind of eat your words. And we've got, again, as we said, the Dogs midfield's always been very, very up there in terms of tiers. But it's just like, you're going to have to make pass with a few players. And unfortunately, sometimes there might be those A-graders.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our first topic because let's talk a little bit about Jamara because a little bit of talk about him, I guess, in the news. What do you think, Jarvis, like I think the consensus is that he's probably going to miss the first couple of rounds at least.
Yeah, probably the first month, I would say.
What do you think? Like, does he leave a big gap in that forward line or do you think the Bulldogs have enough cover for him?
I think we've got enough cover for him. I think between Darcy, which we'll talk about, and the astronaut, and then like, even with Kennedy coming in, who's a bit taller as well, like I think there's a lot of players that will be able to cover the spaces. I think it's going to be interesting how the first month goes without Jamara possibly. I don't think he's going to like kill our success. I think that's going to be our backline. I think the backline is where we're going to struggle the most with. So I think a lot of our small forwards, in terms of West, in terms of Waitman, like those guys can also have that crumbing ability with the astronaut and then Darcy to bring it down to ground. So I think Jamara. Listen, everyone wants to see Jamara play.
The thing is, at the end of the day, you can cover it, but also you're a better team with him. So
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think if you look at last year. Like he was missing for a lot of the last year. Like Darcy, and we've talked about it heaps. We rate Darcy way higher than Jamara as a forward. I think Darcy's got the height. He's the way he's able to grab, and he doesn't even have size to him, Darcy.
But the question is with Darcy, like he's never going to play. I feel like as a full, like a
not forever. No, he'll definitely go the ruck role.
I think, in my opinion, I think that Jamara actually will be the better forward. Okay. I think Jamara is more of a natural forward. I prefer his physique and height as opposed to Darcy's.
Yeah.
The problem with Darcy is, and I really rate him. I know we're going to talk about him in a sec, but these guys, he's 208 centimeters, I think. So he's the same height as Max Gawn. He's moving really well now. We'll see how well he's moving when he's in his late 20s.
I don't know. Gawn's moving pretty well, and he's older. Rucks only get better with age.
No, but I'm saying as a forward. Like
Darcy, but
I think Darcy will be a fantastic player, but I think Jamara is a.
I think you're looking long term. I think I'm looking at this year right now. Yeah. I think Darcy covers Jamara for the first month or however long Jamara is out for, and I think. Again, I don't think losing him is going to nullify success. I think that's going to come more from our defense, really.
Jamara kicked 43-35 last year.
Yeah, massive. And he had a few big, like, multi-goal games as well.
I felt like when I was watching him a lot, he was missing a lot.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 50-50. He might have been a bit off Buddy when he first really broke on the scene.
The thing is, 43 goals in his, what was it, is that his third season?
I think it was 2020 draft off the top of my head.
Regardless, I looked it up the other day.
Fourth.
There's not many key forwards, and we're talking some of the best in the game, kicked 40 early into their career.
Yeah.
Especially big guys. Like Hawkins, I think, was a little bit older the first time. Kerno didn't kick over 40 until he was like in 25, maybe.
Yeah.
But he was also injured for half of that too.
But I'm saying,
so you didn't really give him the opportunity there.
My point is that I feel like Darcy and Jamara are like ahead of schedule when people are putting pressure on them to be like
good to go now.
They're not prime.
Yeah.
They're not prime, but like,
just wait till they're in their prime.
They're overperforming, I feel.
Yeah,
for their age.
Honestly, I was surprised to see that Jamara kicked 43 last year. I didn't think it was going to be that high.
Yeah.
So
and Sam Darcy to be even playing football at like league football with his build is unbelievable. Because look at some of the guys of his height.
Yeah.
They sit in the reserves for like 4 years before they start playing.
But I think that's also the power of Darcy and how much he wants to it. He's a second generation player now. He's like, he knows what his expectations are, and he's trying to live up to that and then exceed that into further success.
And we'll get into
he
more.
He also looks like he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Jamara, just to finish off here, 1.6 contested marks a game as well.
That's really good.
Which is great. Yeah. So I honestly think the Doggies can cover him for a late period because he's still got Norton.
Yeah. And it's a long season. It's a long year.
But I actually still think that he's still a very important piece. My only knock on him, I would say, is that I feel like his attitude is very carefree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
he needs to just lock in,
I think even after the elimination final against the Hawks, like he was all smiles and stuff.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But Buddy was sort of similar in some ways. Like, I feel like, even like a Jack Rewalt, like Richo, like that, players that sort of like show their emotion, not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. I think the one difference I will say with Jamara again is if he can be that number one forward and just have one of those years where he kicks like 70 goals, I would say it'll be really hard for the Doggies not to win a flag that year.
I think as well with Jamara, like his skill and ability, and I think I was watching my girl Nisha had the Carlton game on where it was like a tight game last year, and the way Jamara just opened up the field and just snapped, his ability to just snap it on the foot for his height is ridiculous, and it can be like 20 meters out on a really tough angle and he'll snap it into the goal.
To be honest, so like you spoke about his goals last year was like, what'd you say, 43?
Yeah,
30?
43. Yeah. I think a lot of the Dogs had a lot of goals.
But honestly, like, so some guys, they have poor technique and poor accuracy. He has amazing technique,
but very poor accuracy.
He's just got the yips. Like, so I think he's one of the best looking set shots. Like everything looks very in line.
Yeah.
It's not like you watch a Harry Mackay or someone like that, and everything looks a little bit disjointed. Yeah. Whereas like everything looks really nice, and he kicks the ball dead straight, but just occasionally dead straight through the points.
You can definitely tell that Marvel is his home ground compared to other places. Like when he's under Marvel, under that roof, like he kicks so much better and not have to worry about the wind. And maybe that's one of those things where he needs to get better at, which is weird because Witten Oval is a windy place. So,
all right, moving on. Let's talk about Bevo for a minute because I feel like I was a bit harsh on Bevo.
Yeah, you
last
were
year.
very harsh.
And I just want to know, like, can Bevo actually take the Doggies to a top 4 spot this year?
I am hesitant to say yes.
Yeah.
The reason I'm hesitant to say yes is because we saw last year how close every team was. And I feel like, and I think we've chatted about it afterwards, the competition's getting tighter and tighter. So to be in top 4, you need to be everyone firing all cylinders for like 80% of the year type of thing. Like you can't drop too much.
And you can't afford to like... You gotta win your games leading up to the finals.
Yeah.
We saw last year, like a couple of teams that just missed the 4, like dropped crucial games. I think Brisbane dropped a really crucial game that cost them.
Fourth.
They ended up finishing 5th. Still won the flag.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's so tight.
Yeah. And the Doggies' highest standing has been 5th, and Bevo's, might have never taken him to top 4, but it's taken him 2 grand finals.
2 grand finals,
Would
yeah.
you look at like a lot
And
of guys...
a lot of final series as well.
Yeah, well,
a lot
he's
of,
best coach.
Well, that's the thing, because they're not, and no offense by this, but I wouldn't say the Bulldogs are like a destination club the way Collingwood and...
No, I don't think we have
stuff.
that legacy.
But I feel like sometimes it's the same thing maybe even with Hinkley, where it's sort of like they have been really successful. Like you're not like a North or a West Coast the last couple of years.
You know what,
Yeah.
though? I feel like, as much as you say they're not a destination club, I think there's a charm in the Bulldogs. They've really like bought into this like, I don't know, it's
Brotherly
like
club. I think it's like a very brotherly, like kind of like, as much as people will come and go and, you know, people have their issues, like I think there's a core group, and I think it's led by Bevo and to an extent Bont as well.
I think as well, like Footscray itself as a suburb has gotten better and better and better since we've been alive, to the point where like it's a great place to live.
Yeah.
Like it's where they train is an awesome spot. So it's like, you know, would you rather be going there, or would you rather be going out to where St Kilda train out in Raven? Like, you know, I feel like that it's a slight advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bevo could do it. Again, I think it's going to depend on whether the Dogs can find consistency within their game, because I think the biggest thing coming out of the last 3-4 years is the consistency with how we play, in terms of can our worst be better than what it actually is, because our worst is horrific.
We saw like the Doggies, the Hawks, I think even Brisbane kind of go on late runs that kind of solidified their spot in the finals. If you ask me a team that I think can do that consistently year by year, I feel like the Doggies is that team.
Yeah.
Because they've got the list for it. I feel like they can just be a bit inconsistent, but their best is really good.
The best is amazing. Their best is crazy.
I feel like these Marvel tenants can get on a really good run of form.
Yeah.
Because that like when they're in sync, it's such a quick deck that you can just like you can just be like so devastating on that ground.
I think as well, like from memory, last year we had I think like 6 or 7 games where we were at Marvel just every week, and like that consistency can build up, and you feel more comfortable, especially under that roof, just to rack up those games.
Do you think there's a bigger disadvantage for the Marvel-based tenants in terms of like having to play the finals and grand final at the MCG?
Yeah, but I think it's in its own. Like it's final series. It doesn't matter where you play. It should be how you play. At the end of the day, it makes an advantage, sure. But you know,
the other thing is just the fact that like you know a lot of these teams rarely get to play at the MCG.
Yeah,
it's just a foreign ground for them. Whereas whereas you've got what is it? Probably 5 or 6 teams that play there every second week.
Well, it's interesting because we got round 2 against you guys for our 100th game, and we're hosting it, which we don't ever host an MCG game. So it only makes you question more and more. But I mean, like sometimes it has to go with the contracts that Marvel have with the teams and everything like that.
We've played plenty of home games at Marvel against the Dogs, so I guess it's just they
one of those
have
things.
An agreement.
All right, guys, and moving on, the last topic to round it up. We've already spent a lot of time talking about Sam Darcy.
I'm so keen for him this year.
Could he become the Dogs' most important player?
No, because I still think that's Bont. I think Bont is still the most important player. He breaks open those games.
Do you think down the line?
Down the line, yeah, probably in a few years or so. When he puts a bit more size on, 100%.
I feel like he could be what Joey Danaher was for the Lions.
All right, let me put it this way. Let's say let's just talk this year, for example.
Yeah.
And I'll ask it to the Bulldog supporter, Jarvis.
Yeah.
So let's say Jamara's out.
Yep. How long?
Let's say he's out for the first month.
Okay.
What would be worse for the Bulldogs? For Darcy to go down or for Bont to go down? Like which one would affect the team structure more?
That's a great question. Because
because the Bulldogs midfield's so elite.
It is. Because Bont can go quiet and like people will pick up the slack. Where I feel like Darcy down forward with no Jamara as well.
No doubt Bont is the best player at the Bulldogs by a country mile. Yeah. But I'm saying like positionally, like
I think Sam Darcy might be.
Yeah,
I think
if
I don't disagree.
Just Norton, it would be a problem.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. Yeah.
And that was the biggest issue when it was just Norton. Yeah. Like he wasn't doing like that's when you maybe saw the astronaut come out a little bit more because he had to step up. But like because we've had Darcy and Jamara come in, he hasn't had to fly as much because you've had those two kind of doing. So he's moved a bit more up higher field, Norton. So I think you're not wrong. I think I would prefer if anyone out of the two, Bont or Darcy, it'd be Darcy to stay healthy and Bont to go down for a little bit, because I think we can cover for him, especially as we talked about, like Kennedy's in there, Sanders is riling up.
Obviously, you want to have them all fit though.
Of course you do, but like, we're talking about hypotheticals. You never know what's going to happen throughout the year. Like, Nick Dacos has been injured twice to possibly win the Brownlow 2 years in a row. Yeah. So it's just one of those things.
We talked about Jamara's numbers. I think Sam Darcy played 21 games, 38 goals last year.
That's a really good return.
2.19 contested marks a game.
And I think, and we're going back quickly to the Jamara thing. Like, I think that's the thing about him not being as important to Dogsy's success, because we spread the ball out in terms of goals. A lot of our small forwards get a lot of goals. Darcy and Jamara were sharing the load. The fact that Darcy's in his second year and had kicked 38, like 4 or 5 goals behind Jamara, who's been there for an extra couple of years. So it's really impressive.
One thing I will say though is that, let's say you have all 3 fit and firing.
Yep.
One of them gets to play on the third best defender.
Yep.
So that's the difference is.
Yeah.
You know, like you look at, we've done other episodes where we've spoken about how, teams like Collingwood, Carlton have one tall defender in the whole team.
Yeah.
Hawks last year had one tall defender.
Still
you come
dominated.
up against those 3, it's unstoppable. Like, especially Darcy in the square, like, you can't stop him without giving away a free kick. So
it's you chopping the arms or pushing the back or something or other.
I think having all 3 just stretches the other team so dramatically.
It does, but it also... it becomes costly, because you don't want to have all 3 playing at the same time, because then that's a lot of talls and not a lot of smalls.
I think Darcy and Norton kind of push up a little bit.
Norton's either one of those two.
Norton's the best athlete in terms of running.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's also going to put on a bit more size this year, Norton, as well. So I'll be interested to see how he goes. But I think Norton's going to push a bit more up the field to bring those other boys down, so that way we have someone a bit floating down the back, so that way that opportunity, if the ball does fly from one end to another, it means that it's a bit easier for us to convert.
So Jamie, if you as a Hawks fan, if you had your choice of the 3 key forwards, which one would you take?
Sam Darcy.
Yeah,
I think I would take, and if we're excluding the off-field stuff, I think as a Collingwood fan, I think I would take Jamara.
I think there's more upside of Darcy is my only thing, because I think even further down the line he becomes that rock forward, and then he's honestly, like, you think about it, he could be just a better Gorn realistically, where he can float down forward and actually kick goals.
Better than the greatest ruckman ever. It's high praise.
I think it's different for every team though. I could see a lot of teams going Jamara. I think for Hawks, I
like the classic like key forward. I think he has he's like the prototype for a full forward. Yeah. Just the way he looks, he's got the way he floats in and takes marks. It's really like, it's almost like Wayne Carey. It's like he just floats.
It's just with ease, isn't it? He just glides into it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's move on to the individual accolades. I just want this to be Spitfire round. So just give me. Who could win a Brownlow for the Bulldogs?
Bont. Should have won it in what 20? What was the year that Wines won it? 21? 21? Yeah, 21. 21, he should have won it that year.
Any chance that he could do it with the way Cripps and Dacos polled last year?
It's going to depend. I mean,
the umpires didn't notice him as much as I thought they would. They left him out of the votes in... There was a game the Bulldogs won early in the season where I watched it. He was far and away the BOG and he didn't get a vote. And they put some random bloke in it. They put some guy in it where I was like, are you joking?
I think again, it comes to the issue with that the Dogs midfield is very stacked. So it's easily to go a bit under the radar. It is a midfielders award, and we've got all the best midfielders. So, I mean, I think the question is, can Bont impress enough throughout the year comparatively to a Dacos and a Cripps? I think both of those guys are going to back up, and I think Dacos is going to be even hungrier for it. I think even Bailey Smith, honestly, could rack up those votes. So it's going to be a question of whether he can impress as well as the other players. Yeah. It's just a matter of how much are they going to notice him compared to others.
What about Coleman Medal?
That's a very interesting one because it's going to be either Jamar or Darcy. It's a big spread. I don't think we have a Coleman medalist currently compared to everyone because there's no one that is solely getting focused on it, and we don't know how long Jamar is going to be out for. We don't know how much that delay starts the season, delay to the preseason is going to work into that.
So you said Darcy kicked 30 something.
38.
What would be a good return? Like, what's a realistic good return for him this season to take the next step?
Hit 38-40, I think. Again, it's going to depend on how much he is because, again, I think also...
Well, you got to kick about, 60-odd to...
Yeah, 60-odd, but I don't think we spread the load too much.
Do you think he's capable of having a 50-goal season?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. It depends it depends on injuries. It depends on a lot of things.
Honestly, if Sam Darcy were to break out to be able to win a Coleman, I'd almost pencil the Doggies in for the flag.
I don't disagree.
It's a big call.
No, but I don't disagree because again, I think the asterisk against Jamar puts so much floating into the air that if Darcy has to become the main full forward, he could spice it up.
Who did Darcy kick 6 against last year? Was it North?
Oh.
I feel like
it was at Marvel. I think I was there at the game.
Did he kick a bag of 6 or was it 7?
Yeah, I think it was 6 or 7 at North against North. I want to say.
When you see a young key forward do that, it's like their stocks are just like explode.
Yeah.
Like it's just like.
But again, you also got to remember that's against North. Honestly, I think the tallest player in North to defend on Darcy was half the size of Darcy anyway. So
Coleman might have been injured that day.
Yeah.
All Oz squad. Anybody outside of the normal candidates? I guess.
There was one I had.
I would love to see Libba finally get one.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve one. I just think there's
too many midfielders.
There's too many midfielders, and I think he just gets pushed out every time.
My one that I think
he needs to have a Trelaw season.
That I reckon no one would really consider as Waitman for All Australian.
Yeah.
I think he's capable of being like a 40-50 goal small forward.
Yeah.
And I could see him having like a big season. He's been a little bit down.
Well, he's had that really bad elbow injury in the last 2 years, so I think that's kind of hindered his consistency of playing the game. I don't think he's a bad shout for All Australian. I just think he has I feel like he's a bit more of a role player for the Dogs. I feel like he kind of fits that role. He'll get up the field to get some stuff. I don't think he fits that. He's gonna, compared to other small forwards, I just don't think he's up there for the All Australian personally for me, as much as I love him.
All right, let's move on. We're going to do a quick little quiz.
Yeah.
A Western Bulldogs quiz.
Oof.
Now, Jarvis, you're going up against a trivia master here.
He goes for the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, but how much past history is this? Because I'm terrible with my history. That's the one subject in school I was terrible at. I never took it.
I think there's a bit of a...
How many questions have we got?
It's just 5 questions.
5 questions.
All right. Question number 1. How many points did the Doggies win the 2016 AFL Grand Final by?
20?
23.
Jarvis, closer, 22.
Oh.
89 to 67.
I should know that because I had a bet on that day. And it had to get over 21 points or something like that. I was wrapped.
All right. How many best and fairest has Bontempelli won?
6.
6 on the dot.
Whoa.
There we go, Jarvis.
Jarvis is destroying
All right, the next question now. I gave my stats off Draft Guru for this one, so I don't know how accurate it is. But
oh, cool. So fudge numbers.
Who is the tallest player on the current Bulldogs list?
Darcy.
Yeah.
No. Not according to...
Oh, is it English?
No.
No, let me think about this. There's probably some guy on the list.
On their list.
Darcy and English are listed as 205.
Is it Buslinger?
No.
There's
one more person who's 1 centimetre taller, apparently.
Darcy is grown. He's actually taller than
He probably would be. He would be, yeah.
Norton?
No.
No idea.
I think he's like a ruck as well.
Are you sure he's on our list? Is it Gardner?
No. We've forgotten about him.
The forgotten man.
Are you sure he's on our list still?
He got moved to the back line.
Oh, it's Lobby. Oh, it's the Lobs.
He was listed as tallest, but I thought...
No, I'm pretty sure Darcy's taller. He's still growing.
Darcy's taller than...
Yeah.
He has to be.
But I'm just going by
actually,
what the internet tells me.
You know what? So I think that Lob might be taller, but they're both taller than what you've got listed.
Actually, that's an outlier for All Australian Lobby for All Australian, maybe.
No.
Ooh, he was good at the back line. Plus, we've got no Jones for the first start of the season. Ooh,
I mean, I think that hinders him rather than helps him.
All right, on the Doggies list heading into 2025, who has the most career goals to their name?
Norton?
No.
Bont.
Bonds,
Ah,
He's been there way longer.
232 goals.
he's a midfielder.
Yeah, and he floats down forward every game.
232 goals in 240 games.
That's
How many goals has Norton got?
Oh, dude, but not. He also, I think, Bond's got six All Australians for a reason. When in doubt, he floats down forward and kicks goals.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Last one. This one's worth 10 points.
Nice.
I don't think either of you are going to get it though.
Okay, cool.
I call BS.
What is Tom Liberatore's middle name?
Oh,
God. It's going to be something wild.
it wouldn't be like.
All right, starts with an F.
It starts with an F.
Finley.
No.
I want it. No.
Flynn.
No. That would have been great, actually.
Like Fraser.
No. You're not going to get it.
F.
F-R-A.
Fraser.
Frank.
No.
What is it?
All right, it's Francis.
I feel like I heard that song. I feel like that might have been like on a weird interview, like Fox Footy interview thing where he's talking about his like pub come down, he had his palmers.
Well, I saw it. I just thought he doesn't look like a Francis. So see if anybody knew. But
Interesting.
Jarvis, I think you actually got.
Yeah, I did.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Breakout or underrated stars. Jarvis, do you want to go first for this one?
Yeah, I reckon Joel Fraser will be a breakout star. I think Johanneson's out for the first little bit of the year, so he gets pushed into the team.
Yep.
And I think what he displayed last year as a young person, the halfback, which is a hard spot to fill for our team as well with Bailey Dale and again Johannesson back there. Fraser's going to have, I reckon, a really good year. I'm hoping he is at least because
I agree. He looks
good. I think if he gets his kicking a bit better and getting that transition, but like the fact that he can run as fast as he can for as long as he can is really nice.
Plenty.
I was probably going to go the same, but if I had to come up with another one, I think Riley Sanders.
Yeah.
Who Jamie labelled as an absolute lock for the rising star at the start of last year.
And then got what, 3 games?
What? If he got the game time.
No, I think he would be running the other way.
I remember
for that one.
I remember your rationale was like, he's going to get 20 plus disposals every game.
Yeah.
Like, how's he not going to win it? But then you forgot that
Dogs had so many midfielders, and he was not getting into the team.
Because they're a high possession team normally, like all their midfielders, fantasy.
Yeah, but he needs to be actually in the midfield to get those.
Bevo normally likes playing the young kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did for like 2 games, and then he was out of the team.
I'm going to go Riley Garcia to break out.
Right.
Interesting choice.
I liked the way he played. I thought he was really good. Probably one that goes under the radar, but I think he could just fit in a number of positions.
He's been playing a bit midfield in the training and the practice sims, I think, from what I've heard, and he's done pretty well there. I think my only issue with him is that he can be a bit emotional. So, like on the field, he can give away a few frees for the wrong reasons.
It's not always a bad thing. Though.
It's not always a bad thing, but I think last year that's like when he was in our team, like he wasn't playing great. He was getting pushed into the half forward role, into the pocket even at times. And he just got a bit emotional and was getting a bit riled up when he wasn't getting his way because that role's like the hardest role in the footy. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. And I feel like he gets pushed out a little bit. Yeah. I don't know if he'll get a whole bunch of game time. That's my thoughts.
We'll find out, but I'm really high on him. I know a couple of clubs are interested in him as well.
No,
so it'll be one to watch, I guess.
Yeah. He might get traded. Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to our Western Bulldogs episode. Big thank you to Jarvis for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Took out the quiz. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.